Hey guys, welcome back to another video. My name is UFC Investor. In this video, we're going to be going over my bets, predictions, and picks for Plessis versus Strickland 2. I'm going to be talking about fighters like DDP, Sean Strickland, Cong, Wang, Tatiana, Suarez, Topuria's brother. So let's get started with the first fight. Alright guys, so for the first fight of the night, we have Payun Sung Park versus Tumen Dembarol. This one, guys, this is a couple guys that were from Road to UFC. Right now, the odds have Park as a favorite. I think he's a minus 200 at the moment, minus 220. And Tumen Dembarol is a plus 185. I'm just going to show you guys my pick. It's already showed it a second ago. I'm picking Park by decision. And I only picked that because he is 2-0 in the UFC. I actually have some notes here too. He is 2-0 in the UFC. He's undefeated. He does have 2 finishes in the last 2 fights. So that's, I don't know, I think it's pretty impressive that both of those fights didn't go to decision. So in saying that, I do have to mention Tumen Dembarol hasn't been finished. His only loss in the UFC officially as a UFC fight was versus Carlos Hernandez in a split decision. So I don't think Park is going to finish him. I think he's going to be able to take it to decision and hopefully win it that way. But just in case, I've been hearing about people picking Tumen Dembarol, and not just because of that I'm going to be betting on him, but I am going to be picking Park by decision. But I'm going to be betting Tumen Dembarol to get either a submission, which he usually gets at 63% of the wins, or a KO. So I'm going to probably just be putting like $1 on Tumen Dembarol just in case he does win. One by KO, one by submission, and then picking Park by decision. I'm not too confident in Park, but it just kind of makes sense. He's already has 2 finishes in the UFC, and then Tumen Dembarol lost to Carlos Hernandez by decision. So let me know what you guys think. Let's go to the next fight. In this fight, guys, I'm going to be picking Quillen. I'm going to be picking him by decision. I mean, if you guys look at the odds, he's a minus 570, and Jubilee's a plus 420. But honestly, I feel like it's a little too much. I feel like I can't count Jubilee out completely. I feel like he's a decent fighter. Everyone remembers the fight with him and Mike Breeden, where Mike Breeden was like barking at him, yelling USA. Just kind of dogging him in the fight. And he ended up finishing Jubilee in the 3rd round by a right hook. So I do think Jubilee could be broken, but before that he ended up getting performance of the night in a round 2 finish over Jaka Sarage. So I do think he's capable. I don't think he completely sucks. I feel like betting Jubilee inside the distance, or maybe even by decision, is a good bet. So again, like the last fight, I'm going to be putting $1 on Jubilee by inside the distance and by decision. So just in case he wins, you get a little bit of money there. But I kind of do doubt it because I feel like that Jubilee or that Breeden fight kind of showed that he doesn't have the grit to try to keep the fight till the end, kind of thing. And then Quillen, on the other hand, he's a grappler. He's going to try to take Jubilee down. He's going to try to grind him out, try to get a submission win. He just got a win on his Contender Series fight in this past September 2024 over Gage Young. It was a decision win, so it wasn't too impressive, but it kind of shows how dominant he was in terms of controlling the fight. I do think Quillen is probably going to win if he mixes it up and he takes down Jubilee, but Jubilee does have a chance, I think. But let's go to the next fight. Alright guys, so in this 3rd fight of the night, we have Kevin Jesay versus Jonathan McAuliffe. In this fight, guys, we have a Contender Series fighter who just got an impressive win in his Contender Series fight versus Kevin Jesay, who just lost to Brian Battle. I don't blame him for losing to Brian Battle because I do think Battle's actually really good. And up until then, I actually thought that Jesay was actually a pretty decent fighter. He's from City Kickboxing, which is where Adesanya's from, Olberg, Kaikar, France, people like that. So he's actually from a decent gym, and I do think he has decent kickboxing. So I think in this fight, I think McAuliffe is going to just try to take him to the ground and control it there. And as long as Jesay stays up, I think he should be able to point it out. Right now, the odds have McAuliffe at a plus 187 and Jesay at a minus 222. I'm going to be for sure picking Kevin Jesay to win by decision. I feel like it's going to be a pretty even fight because I do think McAuliffe is good, and I think he has the cardio to try to maybe break Jesay, but I think Jesay is going to be a little bit too skillful to lose. I do think Jesay's experience is going to help out here. But in saying that, I am picking Jesay by decision. But just like the other fights, I'm going to be picking McAuliffe or betting McAuliffe to win by decision, if not submission. So I'm going to be betting just $1 on him by decision or submission, I think. And if he does get the finish, then cool. But the odds are a little close, so I wouldn't be too surprised if McAuliffe won, but I do think Jesay should be the better fighter here. But let me know what you guys think. Let's go to the next fight. Alright guys, so in this next fight we have Rong Zhu versus Cody Steele. This one I'm actually a little excited about because I do remember Cody Steele fighting. I think he was supposed to fight someone that fought Alex Pereira, but then he backed out. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering that correctly. But anyways, Cody Steele did win his Contender Series fight versus Chasen Blair in round 2. He ended up getting a body shot against him and winning by TKO in round 2. Before that, he won a fight versus Alejandro Martinez in round 3. So I do think his striking is actually pretty decent and impressive to get 2 finishes in a row, especially in a Contender Series fight. And then Rong Zhu, on the other hand, has just lost to Chris Padilla, who I don't blame him. I remember actually picking Chris Padilla, but then my friend was like, "Oh no, Rong Zhu's decent," and I was like, "All right, whatever, I'll pick him." But anyways, he lost to Chris Padilla. He was actually in the UFC years ago in 2022. He ended up losing his fight versus Ignacio Bahamundes, Bilal's bro, and he ended up getting 4 wins right after that to get back into the UFC. But his first fight in the UFC was versus Chris Padilla, ended up losing it. So now this is his second fight in the UFC, and I do think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, but I do think Cody Steele is just going to be too much for him. I do think Cody Steele's grappling is going to be a big factor here, because if Cody Steele can't knock out Rong Zhu and beat him on the feet, then I think Cody Steele's grappling should be able to beat him. Cody Steele has competed in grappling events, so he's a pretty decent grappler, I would say. Rong Zhu, on the other hand, has been submitted before, and it's 67% of his losses. So I do think Cody Steele could get a finish here. I think he could get a first round submission. Right now the odds have him at a minus 215, and Zhu Rong is a plus 185. So I am a little surprised about the odds. I do think people are giving respect to Rong Zhu and his him being a veteran in MMA versus Cody Steele, who's just getting into the UFC. But I do think Cody Steele is going to get the win here. I think he's going to be able to get a first round submission, and yeah, I think they're going to try to build him up from there. But let's see what's going to happen. Yeah, let's go to the next fight. Alright guys, so in this next fight we have Ilia Topuria's brother Aleksandre Topuria fighting Colby Thicknesse. In this fight we have 2 fighters who are just coming off of some pretty decent wins in round 1. So honestly guys, I don't think this one's going to go the distance out of all things. Right now I'm just going to show you guys the odds because Aleksandre is a pretty big favorite at a minus 450 and Thicknesse is a plus 350, which is kind of surprising because Aleksandre is just starting in the UFC, so people already kind of have high hopes for him. I'm assuming just because of Ilia and what he's capable of. So in saying that, I'm obviously going to be picking Topuria to win by round 2 TKO, and I do think he's capable of getting a round 1 TKO maybe. But like I said, I haven't seen him. I haven't really watched his other fights. Honestly, I kind of don't really care up until he starts winning in the UFC. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe that's a casual take of me. But regarding Colby Thicknesse, on the other hand, has just come off of winning 3 wins in the first round. One by elbows, one by rear naked choke, and the other one by ground and pound. So like I said earlier, I don't think this is going the distance. I'm picking Aleksandre to win. Hopefully he lives up to the hype that his brothers put upon him. And if Colby Thicknesse wins, then cool, that'll be interesting. Again, just like in the other fights I've said, I think I'm going to be picking Colby Thicknesse to win in like round 1 or 2. I think that's what I'll bet. Probably like 50 cents Thicknesse round 1, 50 cents Thicknesse round 2. Sounds kind of funny to say, but I do think Topuria is going to win though. I'm kind of excited. I kind of want to leave it up to mystery because I do have high hopes for him. Just like Ilia, so it'd be kind of cool to have both Topuria brothers doing well in the UFC. So let's find out, and let's go to the next fight. Alright guys, so in this next fight we have Wang Cong versus Bruna Brasil. If you guys didn't know, Bruna Brasil is part of the Fighting Nerds. Wang Kang beat Bullet or Valentina Shevchenko in a kickboxing match. So this should be a good fight, I think. But the only thing I'm going to say is that I am picking what's her name again? Cong Wang to win by decision, and she is pretty big favorite at a minus 450, which I'm actually kind of surprised because I do think Bruna Brasil is actually a decent fighter, even though she is 2-2 in the UFC, and the only wins that she has is versus Molly McCann and Shauna Bannon, who I don't want to say are just like bad fighters, but you know, it's not that impressive of a win. But in saying that, I do think Cong Wang is going to win by decision. I do think she's going to like kind of hold back on this fight. I do think she is still capable of getting a finish, but I'm going to be picking her by decision. Wang is a minus 450, so the odds for Bruna to get a finish is probably pretty high, but I don't think she's gonna get a finish because she hasn't gotten a finish since September 2022 versus in the Contender Series. So unless she can get another like crazy head kick win, I don't think she's gonna get a finish here. I do think if Brazil wins, it'll be by decision. So I'll probably be betting like maybe like I always say this. I'll probably be betting like $1 on the underdog Brazil to win by decision. Maybe a KO, maybe 50 cents decision, maybe 50 cents Brazil inside the distance. But I'm still going to be picking Cong Wang. I'm not too hyped for this fight because I'm kind of like a little doubtful of Wang and Brazil. I guess I'm a little excited for Brazil because if she pulls this off, it'll be kind of impressive. People are doubting her here. So I'm excited to see this fight. Let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So in this next fight, we have Viacheslav Borshchev versus Tom Nolan. This one, guys, I'm not too excited about this one because I kind of don't know what's going to happen. And I kind of not too excited about either guy if they win. Tom Nolan on one side is, a pretty newer guy. He is 2-1 in the UFC. He ended up getting knocked out in his first UFC fight versus Nicholas Mota in round 1. So I kind of don't trust his chin completely, and I feel like even though he has 2 wins in a row after that fight versus Alex Reyes and Victor Martinez, I don't know. I'm just still a little doubtful. I am a little surprised that Nolan is the underdog at a plus 116. I mean, it is pretty even. So, I do think it's a little fair because Borshchev, on the other hand, is 3-3 in the UFC. So it kind of shows that he does have experience and he is like willing to go to decision with some of the fighters that he's fighting. He doesn't get finished often. He last time he got finished was versus Chase Hooper in round 2, and then before that he hadn't gone finished since ever. Actually, I think it's his only finish. So I don't think Nolan's is gonna finish him. I think it's gonna be a striking match. I don't think either one of them is gonna want to grapple. I think they're gonna try to point it out, but Nolan is taller, longer. I do think he should be able to point it out better in terms of the striking match if they do stay on the feet. So I'm picking Nolan to win by decision. I'm kind of surprised that he is the slight underdog a little bit, but I guess we'll find out. Let me know what you guys think about this one. This one's really hard to pick. I think I want to pick Borshchev, but my mind and heart is just telling me Nolan. So I kind of just feel safe picking Nolan, even though he is a slight underdog. But let me know what you guys think. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So in this next fight, we have Jenkins versus Gabriel Santos. I'm honestly surprised that Jenkins is the underdog at a plus 190. Gabriel Santos is a minus 225. If you guys look at the records, Jenkins is 3-1 in the UFC. He just beat Herbert Burns, which isn't not too impressive, honestly. And before that, he lost to Chepin Mariscal, who I think is a really good fighter. And then before that, he ended up getting 2 decision wins. I do kind of doubt that split decision win over Jamal Emmers, but still, it's 2 wins. And on the other hand, we have Gabriel Santos. We just got a decision win over a guy named Miesha in last year in 2024 September. But before that, he ended up losing to David Onama in round 2. Onama ended up doing the Adesanya bow and arrow celebration on him. He said it was planned and all that, which I think it was kind of a little mean, but and he didn't do it correctly either. But still, I thought it was kind of funny. And he ended up getting split with Lerone Murphy, which is kind of impressive. And even then, that one he could have won. So going split with Lerone Murphy is actually pretty impressive because Murphy is undefeated, and Murphy ended up beating Barbosa. So I do think Gabriel Santos is for sure good, but I kind of disagree with the odds. I kind of think it should be more even, and I think it's just kind of people referencing their fights and how maybe they think that they should have won. So I do think some decision wins here might have been a little skewed, maybe. So in saying that, I think that's what the odds are reflecting here, and Santos being a minus 225. So I'm still gonna pick Jenkins, and I kind of don't want to bet this one because I'm really unsure, because I think Jenkins should be able to get the win here, and Santos is just such a big favorite that I don't think I would want to bet on him. And if Jenkins wins, I do think he should be able to win by decision. So I'll probably just put like 50 cents or $1 by Jenkins by decision. But even then, I'm just not confident at all on this one. This one's I'm really unsure about. The odds just kind of like surprised me a little bit. And yeah, I think I'm just going to stay off of this one in terms of betting. I'm not going to put it in parlays, that's for sure. But let me know what you guys think about this one. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So in this next fight, we have Francisco Prado versus Jake Matthews. I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm going to be picking the underdog again in Francisco Prado. I'm going to be picking him to win by decision. And I know it's a little iffy, 3 underdogs in a row. Even I'm thinking about it. I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I'm kind of doubting it already, honestly. He's a plus 175 versus Jake Matthews, who's a minus 205. And they're at those odds for a reason, I believe. Jake Matthews is 13-7 in the UFC. So he's a vet in the UFC, I would say. If you guys look at his wins, it's win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. So if he follows that pattern, he should maybe lose this one. I'm not saying MMA math always works, but I don't know. I kind of like to see patterns. And I do think this one's probably going to go to decision. I don't think either guy is going to want to try to risk a lot because I feel like both guys are going to want the win, especially Prado. He ended up getting a fight of the night versus Daniel Zellhuber. He lost by unanimous decision, but still, it's fight of the night. So I do think he's capable of putting up a good fight, and I think he's going to bring more skill into this fight. I feel like he's going to have more drive after that loss versus Daniel. Before that, he ended up getting, it looks like, performance of the night versus Amin Zaitar, round 1, ground and pound. So I do think he's capable of getting a finish over Matthews, who hasn't been KO'd in a long time, since 2016. So I don't think he's going to finish Matthews. I think he's going to have big moments and hopefully get the decision win. But, he is an underdog, so I'm not too convinced. I'm not too confident. I'm still going to bet it, Prado by decision. Just like the one before, I don't think I'm going to want to bet this one in parlays at all. If not, I'll just pick Prado by decision or maybe a finish, like round 1 or 2 or something like that. And then Jake Matthews, if he were to win, I think it'd be by decision too. Let me know what you guys think about this one. This one's a little hard to pick too. Again, I want to know what others think about this one. I do think Prado should be a decent fighter here, and I do think he's capable. He's young. He's 22, and he's never been finished. He's only lost by decision. 2 of his losses come by decision. So I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for Matthews. I think Matthews is going to have to try to point it out, and Prado's just going to try to go for those bigger moments. But let's see what happens. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So in this next fight, we have Rodolfo Bellato versus Jimmy Crute. I'm just going to show you guys my pick for this one, guys, because same as the last couple fights, I'm going to be I'm not too confident in the pick because I feel like it's going to be really hard to tell where Jimmy Crute is at. I'm picking Bellato by round 2 TKO. If you guys look at Jimmy Crute's record recently, he's lost 3 times in a row. Once to Alonzo Manifield, once to Jamal Hill. And then before that was Anthony Smith, who are pretty big names, I would say. So going from those pretty decent names to Rodolfo Bellato makes it a lot more even. I think, and that's why the odds are so close. I do think people are still respecting Crute's like veteran status in terms of him being 4-4 in the UFC. So he has a lot of fights in the UFC, a lot of experience versus Bellato, who's just coming into the UFC. He just got a performance of the night versus Ihor, or fight of the night actually, versus Ihor Pretoria. He ended up finishing Ihor in round 2. So I'm going to be picking Bellato to win by round 2 again, because I do think Crute could get finished again in round 2. He ended up getting choked in round 2 in the last fight versus Manifield, but before that he ended up getting knocked out in round 1 versus Jamal Hill, and it was a doctor stoppage, a leg injury, I guess, in round 1 on Crute's end. So I don't know, I just kind of like, I can't pick a guy who's lost 3 fights in a row, especially after Izzy losing. So yeah, I'm gonna be picking Bellato to win. Not too confident as well on this one. I really do wonder how this one's gonna go. Not for sure, not putting this one in parlays again, like I said in the last couple ones. Let me know what you guys think. Let's go to the next fight. Okay, guys, so in this next fight we have Tallison Teixeira versus Justin Tafa, one of the Tafa brothers. I'm really excited about this fight actually, guys, because I actually remember Tafa apparently getting in an injury, and I think his brother stepped in. I believe that's what happened. I'm not too sure. And then Teixeira, I remember him fighting in his Contender Series fight versus a guy named what's his name, Arthur Lopez. He ended up finishing Arthur Lopez in round 1, but in that fight Lopez was catching Teixeira. But maybe he has a chin, or maybe Arthur Lopez doesn't hit that hard. But Arthur Lopez doesn't look like a real heavyweight. He's gonna be fighting Tafa now, who's 4-4 in the UFC. And before his loss to Carl Williams, he ended up getting 3 wins in a row versus fighters like, I mean, not the most best names, versus Austin Lane, Parker Porter, Harry Hunsucker. So not the best names that he's won against, but I do think he's capable for sure knocking out Teixeira. So I think it's either two things: either Tafa gets an early round knockout in round one, probably, or early on in the fight, or Teixeira manages to control Tafa by taking him down. You know, pretty much doing what you should do versus a striker that's probably going to knock you out. So I do think Tafa wins this one by round one TKO. I do think he is going to be able to catch Teixeira, and I'm not too confident in Teixeira's chin. If he can survive Tafa's punches, and I think he's going to be a problem in the heavyweight division. But up until then, I do think 6'7" Teixeira is probably going to get knocked out by Tafa. Right now, the odds have him at a plus 115, Tafa at a 115, and Teixeira's a minus 135. So that's four underdogs that I'm picking, even though two of them are, pretty much pick 'em. So I'm going to be picking Tafa on this one. Let me know what you guys think. Let's go to the next fight. All right, guys. So for the second to last fight of the night, we have Zhang Weili versus Tatiana Suarez, the American versus China. This one should be a really good fight. People are going to be chanting USA. People are going to be chanting China. It should be a really good fight, I think, because Weili is a very well-rounded fighter. I would say she's one of the best fighters that I've seen in women's MMA. She's a really good striker, really aggressive, really just well-rounded. And she's really cool. If you guys see all the countdown videos or just the videos about her, the embeddeds, she's just really laid back and just a really good person, I think. So I really like her as a fighter and as a champion. I do think it'd be cool if she stayed as champion because I do like her. But I do think Suarez is going to be the next strawweight champion. I do think she's capable of beating Weili. I think it comes down to a couple things. If Suarez can keep down Weili and get enough damage to get the win, that's it. She's going to win. And I think it might be a little boring if Tatiana can only just take her down and not really get too much damage. But as long as Tatiana gets her down and does enough damage to convincingly beat her, I think it'll be enough. And I do think Tatiana is going to win. I'm going to be picking Suarez to get a submission in round 3. It is a 5-round fight, so I do think cardio is going to be a big factor in this. And I do think Tatiana is going to have the edge here because she is a wrestler. Right now, they have Tatiana minus 125 and Zhang at a 105. So that's kind of saying a lot because Zhang is a champion and she's the underdog. So I do think people are for sure respecting Weili. But I do think people are kind of siding with Tatiana in terms of more people picking her because she is undefeated, 7-0 in the UFC, 11-0 in total. She's beaten pretty big names like Jessica Andrade, Carlos Esparza, Alexa Grasso. So she has some pretty big wins, and 4 of them have come by finish, 3 of them by choke. So I do think Tatiana is going to be able to at least take it to the ground a couple times and maybe at least threat a submission, if not get that submission in round 3. If not, I think she'll win by decision if she doesn't get the submission. Weili, on the other hand, I do think she can win by decision if she mixes it up well enough, but I'm siding with Tatiana. As long as Tatiana is healthy and not injured, I think she should be able to get the win here. If you guys didn't know, Tatiana had like cancer, and then she beat it, and then she overcame it, and now she's back fighting, which is pretty cool. So I do think this is going to be a really big fight, and it's going to obviously change up the division if Tatiana wins. I'm excited to see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. I'm excited. Let's go to the next fight. And for the last fight of the night, we have Strickland versus Dricus du Plessis, Africa versus the USA. This one's going to be a great fight, guys. If you guys didn't know, Dricus du Plessis beat Strickland by split decision win in the last fight. It was 5 rounds. It was a pretty good fight. Both of them were bleeding in the end, but Dricus took the win by decision. Right now, they have the odds at Dricus at a minus 205 and Strickland's a plus 175. And I'm going to be picking du Plessis to win by round 3 TKO, guys. I feel like I think he's getting better. I think he's going to be able to finish Strickland this time. I was thinking it would be later into the round, so I was kind of thinking rounds 4 and 5, but part of me thinks du Plessis is going to be impressive in this fight and be able to get the finish in round 3. I think I might switch this to round 4 or 5. Honestly, I'm not too sure, but I'm being hopeful and thinking that du Plessis should be able to get the finish early in the rounds or early in the fight in round 3. I'm excited. I really do think du Plessis is going to win here, guys. Like, I'm pretty confident. Even though he won by split decision last fight, I do think he's going to be able to beat Sean again. And I think he's going to be able to do it better this time. Because after the Sean Strickland split decision win, he ended up finishing Izzy. Even though Izzy just got finished by Imavov, I feel like it's still really impressive. And then Sean, on the other hand, he ended up only getting a split decision win versus Paulo Costa. Even though I think it was kind of, I think the judges kind of robbed it from him. I think he pretty won fair and square. But I do think Sean's not going to be able to do enough. And I think du Plessis is going to have the bigger moments to win pretty definitively, if not finish the fight. So let me know what you guys think about the whole card, about this fight. Let me know what you guys think about the video. I'm really excited about this. It's on Saturday, this coming Saturday on February 8th. I'm really excited to see who's gonna win, especially versus Tatiana and Weili, DDP versus Sean. I'm super excited about those fights. I'll show you guys a bet that I've placed already. I'll do another video about my bets, but this is one of the bets that I made. Ended up getting some money back after some BKFC bets, but I put some money on DDP and Tatiana to win. So hopefully that bet goes through. I really do think Tatiana and DDP win. So let me know what you guys think. Put your comments below. Put your bets below. Put who you're picking. Of course, I'll always reply to all your comments, all your suggestions. And yeah, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video.